How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing today? A warm hello. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for hanging out here with me. It's Saturday. It's February 1st. Welcome to February, my friends. Thanks for being here. I'm Big Cheds, of course, from Twitter. Most of you know me from Big Cheds on Twitter. I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, and classical charting. This is part of the quick market update series on YouTube. I love doing these quick updates 3 days a week, taking your questions, trying to create some good educational content. Of course, if you're looking for more, I do full market report twice a week, Bitcoin Live. I've been doing that for 7 years with the best team in the world that studies crypto. Check that out. I've got some free reports circulating. Of course, we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana as well. If you're hearing me in the chat, say hello. Let me know if you can hear my voice. If it's your first time here especially, drop me a message in the chat. Let me know what you think. Give me a good trading question. I want to create some good educational content here. That's why I'm trying to do these videos. By the way, I've published 3 books. I got a 4th book coming soon. They're mostly free on my channels. You can check them out. And new traders, watch the Masterclass tutorial. It's going to be a great help for you to understand how to use volume, Japanese candlestick theory, classical charting, all that good stuff. So how's everybody doing? So I'm going to read the chat real quick, and we'll go from there. What's up, Dreamer, Martwan, Dan, Mohammed, Will, Danny, Agnes, and Indie Rock? What's up, everybody? It's great to have you here hanging out with me on a Saturday. I've got some tweets to talk about. Maybe we'll walk through those. But real quick, we'll just quickly touch base on Bitcoin first. Beautiful chart. Weekly looks good. Above the EMA 8. Above the key demand zone where bulls have responded. Above the, well above the 200. Looks really good. Daily looks really good. We're watching for throwbacks to the broken right shoulder. Most recently had the price response of a range of a loss of the level and a recapture, aka a spring. Had that as well. 91, 92K zone when everybody was already calling top. So it's a nice progression here. Here's your first sweep. Here's your second sweep, aka spring. Nice progression with the 200. Trend looks really good. Everything looks really good on Bitcoin. Ethereum, we'll see. Let's talk about Ethereum. So, the weekly trend is just fine. It's a nice, solid uptrend. Daily chart's a little more muddled. It's a kind of choppy, consolidating picture. We recently had a bounce. I just see people getting excited on Ethereum, and I know it's just most of the time you're thinking that move's going to fade because it's been underperforming. And so I put out a tweet here. Decent spot to fade Ethereum, but first would be here. So first, Ethereum testing descending supply trend, right? So that's this line. So one thing to understand is that there's really no line. The whole purpose of the line is to identify a trend. So you don't want to get hung up. A lot of people get hung up and they miss the forest. They miss the forest for the trees. It's my wife. Doesn't she know I'm doing YouTube? I'm actually going to text her so she knows I'm not completely ignoring her. Doing a show. All right, give me a few. All right, so there it is. See your priorities, folks. I want to talk to you. So the whole point of this trend line is to identify. You don't want to get hung up, right? You don't want to get hung up. Do I draw it here? Do I draw it this way? Like that actually doesn't matter. You don't need the trend line to see that there is a. Oh my gosh! No, I just told her. You don't need the trend line to know that there is a trend of falling supply. What does that mean, falling supply? That means more aggressive sellers on the way down. So we're seeing this price bounce. The price is bouncing into this trend. So here's my tweet. Testing a descending supply trend, okay? Let's clean it up a little bit, and you can just see it, right? You don't need to draw it, and you don't want to get hung up. And that's the thing. People overanalyze where to draw it, and they get hung up. Oh, it's breaking. Oh, they can draw it this way because they really want it to bounce, and then kind of go long. If you're going to do that, you very minimally need to set a second level filter, right? Where you have a lower high break, 3,500, and I've been talking about 3,700 as an important level. But the price is bouncing into this descending supply trend. Gave you a heads up on that. And then I said, here you go, 3,400. This is a decent spot to fade if you think Ethereum underperformance continues. It's been underperforming against Bitcoin. This guy's just having fun. Going to fade you instead. We're just playing around here. But price is at 3,400, and I'm basically saying this is a pretty good spot to either take a short or take profit on a long, because to me it's probably not gonna hold here. And there it is. It's rolling over. So an important lesson there on trend lines, how to draw them, and kind of following relative strength. So let's check in with the chat, and then I'll do Solana. What up, Indy? Hello from Poland. Is that right? All right, folks. Let me know where you're from. This is a worldwide thing. I love the fact that I can go on YouTube and just kind of touch base on everything, and I can talk to people from all around the world. So there is Ethereum. Let's take a look at Solana as well, as promised. We are chopping around in a consolidation range. Recently had the throwback or bullish retest of the W with a lower low. We can clean that up and take a fresh look at it, and you can just visually see it. You can visually see how important for local, which means local means recent, like this would be local. Here's the larger trend, obviously with inside, the weekly trend. Well, when I talk about local, that's the most recent price action. That is the most important in classical charting. So you can see here how important that 225 level is going to be for Ethereum, for Solana. We're actually pushing right back towards it. So this is like the kind of thing I would tweet out. I like to tweet out when the price is at a key level to kind of give people a heads up, and they can switch to lower time frame and then look for something. So let's take a look at the chat, see if there's any good questions. Let's see. Matej says, do you have alarms for price and then you only go into trade? So I recommend you folks do that, but I actually quite literally watch the chart all day, like 7 days a week. I trade it, I teach it. I'm kind of glued to it. Maybe I look at it too much, but I do like people setting alarms, like the trading view or whatever, when the price gets close to a key level. I almost never use alarms because I'm pretty much always watching the chart. But unless you're like me, I mean, you're probably don't you sit at the computer, watch the chart all day like I do. So an alarm is a really good idea, Matej. That's a really good idea. Dan says this setup is mentioned in the advanced masterclass tutorial. Absolutely. And it's not even like a complicated setup. It's just a clear throwback. I'm writing about that in Trading Journal. I tweeted out that yesterday or the day before. Maybe I can find that. This is interesting. I talked about emotional management. Are you uncomfortable, scared? This is something coming up from my Trading Journal book. I talk a lot about being aware of your emotions. They can give you some information. If you enter a trade and you feel uncomfortable, you probably either have too much money in the play, or you don't have enough conviction, and your confidence in the ability to execute a plan. But talking about that setup is AKA a throwback, and here we are from my upcoming book. A throwback is essentially you're buying a dip in an uptrend. And it's when the price pauses, breaks a well-established level, which is what we have here, right? It's a well-established level. It breaks it. It advances, pauses, and returns to that breakout level. You strike. Advances, pauses, returns to the breakout level. So essentially what that is, that's a throwback. Raul says, when will we know when alt season starts? Like, I don't know what that means. For me, it's been alt season for 6 months. There's been many, many great altcoin charts. I don't know if there's going to be a point where if you're hoping alt season means you can just play any altcoin and they're all going to go up. I don't know if that will ever happen, and that's not the way to think about it. You don't want to think about that way. Play good charts. Identify a good chart. Sui still looks good. OM. Play good charts and ride them. If you're in a bad chart, the market's telling you it's a bad chart. You don't want to sit around and hold it and keep buying it, hoping that it's going to be lifted by this like grand tide, in the market, quote unquote, alt season. It's possible that when Bitcoin tops off, Ethereum BTC turns around, and there's no sign of that really yet. There may be like a brief time when altcoins kind of go crazy, but you can't count on that. You can't wait for that. Like waiting for alt season, I don't get that. There's been an unbelievable altcoin environment for at least the last 6 months. And you've seen, I've been doing this on Twitter, on Bitcoin Live, here on YouTube too. You've seen it. Just trade good charts. Like it's been I don't know what more you want than what the environment we already have right now. We have nice volatility. We have steady Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's pausing as it's doing now, it leaves room for really nice altcoin trades. So if you're in an underperforming coin, a bad chart, I don't know if I have one right here. I think STX, like this. If you're in like STX and you're like, when alt season? It's like, no, just don't play a chart like this. Don't play a bad chart. Veracity is a terrible chart. You're just like holding on to this, waiting for alt season. That's not a strategy. That's not a strategy. You have to respect your money, be more precise. Don't think about these narratives, these terms, alt season, when alt season. You're stripping away from yourself any responsibility to play responsibly, to play good charts, to manage your risk. You bull posted Doge that was chubby, as Jasper Jagger says. Actually, Doge looks pretty good, and it's right back. It's an uptrend. I mean, it is. How could I bull posted? It was an uptrend, brother. How do I know that? It's price above a rising MA200, and now you have price testing support again in an uptrend. So I will always quote unquote bull post an uptrend. You very clearly would want to buy at 31 cents, managing your risk. If it can't hold, maybe 30 cents. Use that to manage your risk, but it's at support in an uptrend. The same reason I was saying that you should be buying here at the neck baseline. So, I mean, I'll always quote unquote bull post something that's bullish, my friend. Carlos says you're the best in the space. Thanks for putting it plain and simple. I appreciate you, man. And this is just my style. I don't expect or want you to trade the way I do. I hope that you can take some value from what I'm trying to teach you. I go really granular on Japanese candlestick theory and classical charting, professional TA. I did CMT. I try to put it together. I try to help it make sense for you. And there's so many ways. You can add more moving averages. You can add all these indicators. You can do all this indicator trading. It's not the way to do it. And I've just learned throughout my career, and the more I trade, the less you need all these other things. You need a more simple method, and that's the way to do it. Let's check around with the chat. What's up, Khalid? Thanks, man. Khalid says your book's the best. Khalid, you're going to love Trading Wisdom Part 2, a.k.a. The Trading Journal. That's coming out in a few months. Says, what's up from Mexico? So Dan says, is it reasonable to wait for a dip to the MA200 in Ethereum? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think with Ethereum, I think it's reasonable, not only MA200, but you do have some support here right around 3K. I actually, given its underperformance, I'd rather see like a volatile dip to 2,700. Rather than kind of a slow bleed. We're kind of slow bleeding to this level, which makes it less likely to hold. I'd rather see like a volatile drop, 27, 2,800, a lot of panic, a lot of people saying it's over. And that's like, for me, what I would be targeting. Or I'd just buy with a momentum break. Really, for me, 3,700. I want to ride momentum. I'd buy 3,700 thinking we're finally going to break the larger, high time frame range. I'm not going to mess around in the middle of the channel. Did volume give a signal in the 2020 on top, says John. Let's take a look. That's a great question. I did famously call the 2021 top on the exact day, but I got lucky. I honestly got lucky. I was thinking it was more of a short-term top at the time. I didn't know it would turn into a longer-term top. It really wasn't until we failed to break out here that I officially said we're going to 12. We're going to like basically 12, 15K. So did volume give us a signal? We don't necessarily see it. Let's just zoom in. We don't necessarily see that much of a signal here. Let's go to the weekly chart. I think we want to do a high time frame view. We want to go to the weekly. Let's take a look at this together. That's 2014. It's a little bit too far back. 2017 is when I started getting involved in crypto, right around here. So we did have some spikes in volume, but it wasn't that it was, pardon me, it wasn't like it was a super warning sign. In terms of the high time frame, first warning signs were the loss of the MA50, and I tweeted that out at the time. So we had the loss of the MA50, and then really here was like, you're in big trouble. Again, with the failed breakout over 46K. I mean, I covered that. I threw out as many red flag warning sign tweets as I could when that happened. If you go back, I was like, folks, like this is really bad. So, volume actually didn't give us that much of a clue here. At the weekly top, but it was more so loss of structure, loss of support, loss of the MA50. But that's a pretty good question. That is a pretty good question. Let's see. Cheds, do you have alarms? We already talked about that. And you asked about alt season. That's a good question. And let's see. Jigger says literally most alts have been ravaged apart from XBC. Not really. Just bad altcoins, Jiggers. You got to play good stuff, man. There's been really, really good charts for quite a long time. Like Ray's been ripping. Alga looks pretty good. ADA, XRP, Aave, Sol, Sui, OM, Doge, TRX. That's just like 10 right there. And there's been a rotating list. I just think people are playing the wrong stuff. They're playing just like really bad charts, or they don't know how to identify a trend, and they're kind of complaining and saying, it's not altcoin season. Like, if it's a bad chart, just get out. And that's you. It's on you to hold, to be stubborn because you believe in, like, the technology, whatever that means. I don't believe in the technology. Let the market sort it out for you. Yes, please. Thank you, Cheds. JH, any thoughts on fart coins, PA? There's not enough price history. There's no chart. There really is no chart. You need more history, and you can't do TA and hype or Trump coin or fart coin. There's no history. You need a trend. You know, if you're the reason you need a trend, the purpose of TA is to identify a trend and to see when there's a movement against it. You can take advantage of that, right? If you want to go long, you want an uptrend that just dipped. Lubin says your style of reading charts is amazing, but not simple. With all the EMA, MA, bands, and volume. I mean, that's fair enough. There's probably a more simple version. I think mine is about as simple as I can get it. I've thought about removing a couple moving averages, but none of them, they all make sense and have their value for me. Moving average cross, 834. MA20 is part of the middle Bollinger Band. MA50 is important for kind of a longer midterm. And then, of course, the MA200. And I can't trade without Bollinger Bands. I'm a Japanese candlestick guy. Right, I consider myself kind of the premier candlestick guy on Twitter, right? And so you have to use candlesticks. You have to use Bollinger Bands as candlesticks, right? And I write about that in Trading Wisdom. I talk about it a lot. Yeah, Aave still looks strong. I think people are just playing bad charts. Jeggers, what's your BTC cycle top? I don't like to think too much in terms of cycle tops, but I do have here's a caveat. Look, I'll give you a target here and a time frame, but here's the caveat. You know, going more than a few days out is almost useless, is very little value. But very generally, loosely speaking, I think we're going to be in the mid 200Ks in 2026, middle of 2026. So I think we're up here, and that's a big move from here. But that's just the cup and handle, measure move of the cup and handle, basically based on the time it took in the range. So I think we're going to be in the mid 200Ks in 2026, and that's my general target. I know that goes against prior cycles. I actually don't care about that. You know, look, things are changing a little bit, right? Oh, this time is different. Well, we've only had a few cycles, number one, right? What is important to note is for the first time ever, we broke below the prior all-time high. And we spent the most time below the weekly MA200 that we'd ever had in history. So things are clearly changing. And I think we need to be less glued to assuming things are going to always go the way they had been, and stay kind of nose to nose or stay close to the price and analyze it that way. Come on, folks, give me some good trading questions. It's a Saturday. We're hanging out, and I want to add value, and I want to just create some good content. Is there a good chart you're looking at? Yeah, there's a lot of good charts. I mean, we can do a quick scroll through here, see if any of these are decent. Like TRX looks good. It's been one of the best looking charts, all year. TRX looks good. Doge here, if it holds at 31, that's a decent setup. I mean, I've been talking about OM Mantra is beautiful. If you saw my tweets, if you saw my video yesterday, I gave you guys a great, and we'll talk about whiff in a second. I gave you guys a great look here, right? OM, I gave you a 4-hour Bollinger pinch, at 450, and it was a beautiful break from that. And that was a nice daily consolidation, 4-hour pinch. I mean, OM still looks good. It's one of the best looking charts. There's some really nice charts out there. So even like ADA still looks good. These are still decent looking charts. Certainly here around 90 cents is where you want to see hold. H-bars grinding higher. There's some decent charts. There's some good charts. I just think people, again, are playing bad stuff. Can you talk about risk management? Says yes, B. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about risk management. There's 18 free chapters of my book, Trading Wisdom, my best-selling book. The first 18 chapters are free. Go to the Trading Wisdom playlist. Risk management's incredibly important. Every time you enter a trade, you need to have a well-defined thesis, a well-defined trading idea, so you know when the idea fails, so you can get out. and you can manage your risk. That's incredibly important, right? Emotional management is a part of risk management. Kind of observing when you're excited, when you're scared, when you're bored. I talk about risk management all the time. Don't jump into charts. If you're going to trade something, make sure it comes from your watch list. Don't just play something because you saw somebody tweeting about it. So Busy says, is there a best time to ditch weak coins and switch to stronger ones? Yeah, today, now, right? It's like the whole thing with the best time to plant a tree was, 10 years ago, and the second best time's now, right? So it's always a good time to ditch weak coins. Here's the thing. Here's the whole idea that people get stuck in a coin. So what was that bad one I was looking at? Veracity, right? So people get stuck in a coin and they don't want to quote unquote miss the bottom. But here's the thing. If you say, look, I like Veracity and I think it's going to eventually get back up to whatever 5 cents. And here it's at 003. What you want to do is set a level to where momentum is likely to have turned around. So you can always sell and then set a level where you can buy back in. You can buy back in with momentum on the lower high break here. You want to set a level in the chart which suggests that the bearish trend is turning around, right? So just take control of things like guessing when downtrends will reverse, riding things to the bottom. I've done that. I've lost so much money doing that. This is why I do what I do. I've annihilated so many trading accounts just playing it the wrong way. And so when I speak from the heart and experience. It's always the right time to ditch a weak coin. And if you don't want to miss the bottom, just set a level in the chart, like a lower high break that would suggest that momentum is reversing. You're never going to get 100% of the move. That's not the point. The point is you want to ride with the trend and ride with momentum. All right. I mean, I'm going to talk about it's all. I explain this in the Masterclass tutorials. I'm gonna record a new one this year. It's gonna be awesome, and I'll do it live, and you folks can hang out with me. Let's see. Couple requests here. Let's see. I'm just checking the chat. It's just me, folks. There's no moderator. If I miss your message, I'm sorry. But I read them all after the video. So feel free to leave a comment, what you like, what you don't like. Make sure you're subscribed, and all that good stuff. Back to Bitcoin here. So let's see what reading the Lubin says, I watched all your tutorial and video. I got a paper copy of your book, and they're great. Thanks, man. I just prefer price action. Exactly. It's all about the price action. You can have a theory, about Bitcoin, what's going to happen because of a, National Reserve in the U.S. or some legislation. And you can get yourself tied up in knots trying to guess what the price is going to do. Or let the market sort it out for you and just pay attention to key levels, as defined by the price, right? You got a pretty clear overhead level right around 107, 107.25. You've got the 99.5K right shoulder they're watching. Let's see. So, Cheds, I know you mentioned previously that you trade each chart separately. I do. I don't like to trade like Bitcoin based on what I think the Dixie's going to do. People do that a lot, right? Or I'm going to trade, based on like gold or some other, I don't know, whatever instrument, right? Or even like, oh, I can't play this altcoin because I don't think Bitcoin's going to go up. Well, either play Bitcoin or play the altcoin, right? You have to trade. You need to trade within the four corners of the chart, right? The four corners, right? Just this chart here. This is all the information you need. Now, if you want to get fancy like me, you can start to work in sentiment. I use sentiment as a read on Twitter. I spotted the sentiment bottom on the exact day that Bitcoin price bottomed at 15.5. I didn't see the price bottom. Here we go, 15.5. I didn't see the price bottom, and I didn't call long on Twitter with the price until we got the 18.5 break, of course. You all got long with me there. But I spotted sentiment bottom. So really beyond the four corners of the chart, if you want to use sentiment, that's fine, because the market participants will give you a lot of information. But you just got to trade the four corners of the chart. So the question is, I know you trade the charts. I would assume you expect other charts to pull back following Bitcoin when it hits some targets, 165. Maybe, maybe not. Like, why? I mean, don't anticipate. I think people spend a lot of time doing FA and doing all these targets and projections because they're bored. They're literally just bored. They're trying to like spend time. It's one of those things where maybe it will go up with Bitcoin, maybe it won't. Just trade the chart in front of you. Right? I'm playing Aave, and I'm bullish if it holds 275. I gave you guys a tweet here. on Aave at 275, and I said like this is a good spot to take a long, right? I said like this is a decent spot to take a long on Aave. It's in here somewhere, but a bit key level 4H, pair of springs. It's in there somewhere where I basically said, this is a decent spot to take along with close by invalidation. And that's really how you want to play it. You can't get tied up with, well, Bitcoin might do this, well, Ethereum might do that. Play each chart. This is a great looking chart. So I would just be long above 275. And if Bitcoin breaks down, maybe Aave would. Or if Bitcoin breaks up, maybe Aave would, maybe not. But just spending too much time guessing if this, then, and that, and doing all this kind of complicated, I think it's just overcomplicated. It's not going to do anything for you. Did you get cooked on the FTX candle? I don't remember. Give me a date, and I'll tell you how it played out. And you can just go look at my feed. It's all public. You can see how I played it. Maddie caught you live again. What's up, Maddie? It's great to have you. Rune looks terrible. So let's take a look at Rune. I don't think I've looked at it. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer today on the stream. I'm just having fun. These are kind of casual reports. Again, I do Bitcoin Live. It's the full market report, twice a week. If you're looking for like a more serious, in-depth report, you definitely check that out. I'll do one tomorrow night. And take a look at Rune. Oh, yikes. Yikes. What happened there? I mean, the trends continue, but yeah, that's brutal. Drop back to the weekly. Okay, we've got volume and volatility, so that's interesting. It's not a great chart in the weekly. A lot of damage has been done. I'm just going to draw that. Take a look there. Drop back to the daily. So yeah, you don't even drop to lower time frame 4 hour. Nothing's going on here yet. Bulls aren't really doing much trying to respond yet. It's just straight up dropping for now. It could be an overextension, and if you're going to try to long, I'd definitely not, but be careful if you get a little bounce, just a bounce to the EMA 8, like a little mean reversion to the EMA 8. Look at what happened here, and look at the volume, right? So this is interesting. Big red candle. Let me try to grab it. This big red candle, big red volume. Follow-up candle. This is what's called counter trend volume. So the green candle is counter trend because it's a downtrend. Right? And look at the counter trend volume, really mild. That was a warning sign that bulls were not stepping in. The bulls were not defending. And now we're just seeing the price roll over. Yeah, this is a terrible chart. So this is like the worst of the worst, type of chart right now. Thank you, brother. Road Dog. Appreciate the super chat or whatnot. Folks, you don't need to do that. Just hang out. Hit like, hit subscribe. Just be here. I just want to have someone to talk to when I hit stream and I'm talking to the microphone. And leave a good comment, give a good question. You're holding since $3. What, Rune? Why? What, you're holding Rune? Why? I don't understand. If you bought at $3, you had a plan. You had a thesis. You had an idea. And then at some point you have to just cut and say it's failed. I mean, if you bought at $3 thinking it's at support, fine. But when it loses, you got to get out. You can't just hold down 50%. What are you doing? I mean, this thing could go to 20 cents. Easy. This is my point, is I think people get paralyzed. They buy at 3, and I'm not trying to single you out. I'm using this as an example, but you buy at 3 and you're just holding, and then you're like, well, when alt season? Because you're looking for something to bail you out. Like, take control. Like, first of all, I don't believe in I don't believe in the idea of being stuck. A lot of people say, I'm stuck, right? I'm stuck in a trade. You are never stuck in a trade. There's a quote in my book. I put it all the time. You're never stuck in a trade. You are simply choosing to remain with a failed idea. You are choosing to remain with it. If the idea fails, get out. You're in here from 3. I don't get that. That shows disrespect for your money. You got to respect your funds. You get in here at 3 and you say, okay, well, I'm going to bail if it doesn't hold 285. Take a small loss rather than a massive loss. You should never enter a trade. It's like, I have another quote, right? It's where good trades are like blind dates, right? They start out with an exit plan. So we entered here at 3. You're like, okay, well, I want to know where I can get out. So I'll get out if it fails. And that's how you got to play it, right? So this is a great chat. We're going to wrap it up. 30 minutes. This is probably the longest one we've done for a while. I talked about Bitcoin. I laid out the levels. I talked about Ethereum. I talked about the descending supply trend. I talked about drawing trend lines. I said this is a good spot to take a short or fade Ethereum at 3,400. Pretty nice roll through, follow through on that. I'd probably take profit on that around 3K. I think it's probably likely to get to that point. Let's see what else. So that's that, folks. This is part of the quick market update series. I do, like I said, I do full market report at Bitcoin Live where I go over the whole market, take all your requests. There's a lot of requests. I didn't get to them today. This is the best team in the world that studies crypto. So I am incredibly proud of it. I would encourage you to check it out. Most of what I do is free. So like I published 3 books. I'm going to start doing a new series on trading quotes where I'm just going to try to, maybe I'll do the whole book for free on YouTube. The whole cancer memoir is free, 1/3 of Trading Wisdom free. And I have a 4th book coming out, which is Trading Wisdom Part 2, the Trading Journal. And I'm going to go over essentially what to put into a trading journal, how to enter it out, sample trade ideas. It's a wonderful project that will come out by this summer. Watch the free Masterclass. And we talked about Solana as well. We talked about the importance of the 225 level. Folks, thank you for hanging out here with me. I could go on longer. This is a lot of fun. There's a great crowd. And I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with me on a Saturday. Leave me a comment. Leave me a like. Tell me if you don't like it. Just let me know. Leave me something. Let me know how you're doing. And I'll be back for my next stream here with you folks. On Tuesday, I'll do a YouTube stream on Tuesday. So Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Thank you, folks. I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Big Cheds out. Peace out, everybody. Thank you so much.